Coming up on 9 News Mornings, more details on a hit and run from over the weekend where people had to free a woman trapped underneath a car.
Also, fire danger high this week throughout Colorado. We're going to let you know where exactly the greatest danger lies coming up.
And a baby formula recall you need to know about this morning, tied to a potential health risk and hospitalizations. But first, we continue to follow breaking news this morning out of Denver. Denver police are investigating this shooting.
Yeah, it happened off 13th and Pearl Street, just a couple blocks from the state capitol. We do know at this point one person was taken to the hospital. We'll let you know when we get more information about a possible suspect. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Drew Carney.
And I'm Corey Rose here with Katie LaSalle. We'll get to all those stories here in just a moment. But first, we got to talk about this forecast because it's hot, hotter. I mean, we're talking almost triple digits tomorrow.
Yeah, Wednesday, tomorrow will be the hottest day of the week, upper 90s, near record values, and cranking up the heat today. So low 90s for this afternoon. Fire danger will be something we'll be discussing for both Tuesday and Wednesday, particularly in the mountains and over the western slope. Right now, it's pretty calm, mostly clear. A pretty morning. Happy Tuesday to you, Colorado. But yes, if you enjoy the summertime heat, we'll be feeling it. Today, we're back to 92 degrees. That's the expected high. And your weather headlines. June 16th, above average temperatures return. Fire danger over western Colorado and into the high country for both tomorrow and Wednesday, near 100 degrees tomorrow afternoon. And we will be gradually watching a dip in our highs and a better chance for some rain heading into Father's Day weekend. But this morning, we have dropped down to the upper 40s out at the airport. It's very mild, so walking the dog, it's comfortable, it is cool. Quick warm up though ahead, warmer than yesterday by about 10 degrees. You can see mostly sunny skies, 10 o'clock, 73. Right around lunchtime, if you're out and about, 82 expected by 12 and a high of 92. Warmer than average. We do typically see a high of 84 degrees. The record is 100, set back in 2021. Winds calm this morning, starting to pick up a little bit later on this afternoon from the northwest, gusts around 20 miles per hour, where we will see the highest winds out near Grand Junction into our central mountains. If you're looking to beat some of the heat of the metro area and plains, high 70s, low 80s out west in the mountain towns of Colorado, with 90s expected for tomorrow and upper 90s in fact. So this ridge of high pressure built in yesterday, another will stay in control, windy for Wednesday, and as we head into the weekend, continue dry and warm. For today, red flag warnings have been issued from Grand Junction to Aspen, our southern mountains, down across the southwestern corner of Colorado, and then extending further to the east and south. Fire weather watches also in place for Wednesday. So we're getting into that time of year. Snowpack, a thing of the past, very high to extreme wildfire danger across a big portion of the state. So our meteorologist with the 9 News Weather Impact team, Jaden Knowles, is in the backyard for us this morning to explain just kind of what this means for Colorado heading into the summer season, which doesn't officially begin until Sunday. Jaden, good morning.
Yeah, that's right. Good morning, Katie. You know, what's actually interesting is Colorado has two fire weather seasons, a grass fire weather season, which usually begins in the winter and goes through the spring. And then, of course, our forest fire weather season, which usually ramps up as we head into the summer months. So there's already some early signs showing that we could be heading into that summer fire season as we head into the end of this week. But for the most part, when people hear fire season, they think of summer. But Colorado's most active grass fire season usually happens during the winter and spring months. That's because dry grasses, low humidity, and powerful winds can quickly spread flames across the plains and foothills. Now, summer brings a different concern. Attention shifts from grasses to forest, and recent stretches of warm temperature and limited rainfall have allowed mountain fields to continue drying out. At the same time, though, Colorado's snowpack continues to shrink. That snowpack acts as a natural source of moisture for forests throughout the summer, but as it melts away, trees, brush, and forest litter becomes more susceptible to ignition. And Colorado isn't the only state seeing signs of increased fire danger. Several large wildfires have already developed across parts of the West, highlighting how quickly conditions can change as summer approaches. So the bottom line, fire season doesn't just end after the spring months, but it really starts to ramp up as we head into the summer months. And there's already some early signs showing that as we head into the end of this week, especially with these hot and warm temperatures. I know a lot of people are enjoying these hot and warm temperatures this week, maybe swimming, maybe cooking, but of course, stay weather aware. Reporting live, Jaden Knowles for 9 News. And Brianna, how are those roadways doing so far?
Very quiet right now. We are taking a live look from 270 for your Tuesday morning. We were getting reports of a crash in this area. This is the closest camera that I have along 270 in York. So between I-25 and I-70, you are going to see stop and go traffic, and it looks like we are seeing crews right now head to the scene of this reported crash. Unclear how many vehicles are involved, but 270, you probably want to avoid it because we're going to start to see delays in that area. A good alternate will be I-25 heading eastbound to I-70. So I want to switch things over to our main maps and zoom into that area where we were just seeing crews arrive to the scene. So this is kind of where we're seeing that slow spot from that CDOT camera. Again, it's trying to head from I-25 to 270 taking York towards Vasquez. On the other side of 270, we're also seeing slowdowns this morning. So again, if you want to avoid this mess, you can always head southbound along I-25, eastbound along I-70, or vice versa if you're trying to get to I-25. Your overall drive right now should take you about 8 minutes. We're probably going to see slowdowns this morning because crews are now arriving to the scene. So 42 miles per hour, that's what we're seeing with that slowdown.
Brianna, thank you. Right now, officials are still searching for a man they say has been missing since Friday, and his family is concerned for his safety. 63-year-old Kevin Bailey was last seen near South Roslyn Street and East Yale Avenue, right near the Cherry Creek Reservoir. He is also believed to be wearing an all-black outfit. Officials also say he suffers from cognitive impairment, which may affect his memory. If you know anything at all, call 911 or contact the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office at the number you see there on your screen.
Denver police say a driver hit 3 people in a crosswalk in Lodo this past weekend. Following that news, a local street safety advocate is calling for change. So again, this is a story that 9 News reporter Courtney Yoon is joining us with live from Lodo this morning. Courtney, investigators believe the man was drunk, that he ran a red light, and they also say he was driving with a revoked license.
Yes, that's right, Drew. And it all happened here on 20th and Larimer Streets. 2 of those victims were thrown into the air by the force of the impact of that vehicle, and another person was pulled underneath the car and dragged about a half of a block before that vehicle became stopped in traffic. The crash happened around 2:30 Sunday morning. Police say 56-year-old Cesario Serrato exited a parking lot, drove across 2 lanes of traffic, and ran a red light at 20th Street where he struck 3 people. All of the pedestrians were within the marked crosswalk, according to a probable cause statement from Denver police for the driver's arrest. Officers and witnesses had to lift up the suspect's car to free the woman from underneath the vehicle, according to that document. Denver's Vision Zero dashboard says 35 people were killed while walking last year. Jill Locantori with Denver Streets Partnership says people need more viable choices for getting around without a car.
We make bad decisions. We drink before getting behind the wheel. We don't want those human characteristics to inherently result in a tragedy. And so we want to design a system that allows people to be people.
Investigators say due to the driver's extreme level of intoxication, he was taken to the hospital before being booked in jail. He did appear in court yesterday where a $50,000 cash-only bond was set. Live in Denver, Courtney Yoon, 9 News.
A Denver police officer who led a Colorado State trooper on a pursuit has been sentenced to probation. Christopher Thomas was arrested in December in Jefferson County after CSP says a trooper clocked him going more than 100 miles per hour on Highway 58. CSP says the trooper attempted to pull him over, but instead he sped up and led them on a chase. According to an arrest affidavit, texts indicate he may have been drinking before he fled from the trooper. Denver police say he was suspended without pay following his arrest. In April, Thomas pleaded guilty to DUI and eluding a police officer charges.
A man who lives in Grand Junction says he paid a parking ticket that wasn't his, so he didn't have to drive across the state to show up to court here in Denver. He's the latest victim of a budget cut the city made last fall, which basically ended a program that served as a middleman for parking disputes. Brad Sant called Steve on Your Side after getting a late notice from the city of Denver for an unpaid street sweeping ticket. The $50 ticket had gone up to $100 because it wasn't paid. But Steve on Your Side found there were several problems here. First of all, the man never got an initial ticket. Secondly, he lives in Grand Junction. We mentioned that part. He says he hasn't been to Denver in several years. And thirdly, the ticket had Brad's license plate on it, but it wasn't his car. So he called the city and was told that he would have to appeal the ticket in person. He thought about it, but realized he'd have to take time off from work, drive here, get a hotel room, all that stuff. He decided paying the $100 would simply be easier than actually fighting the ticket.
Money started adding up in my head, and I was like, well, I have no recourse. I just pay the $100 fine and let it go.
Steve on Your Side presented their findings to Denver's Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. A spokeswoman said the department will now review Sant's citation.
According to the latest batch of released documents from the Pentagon, a large, oddly shaped object was spotted over Cheyenne Mountain back in 2022. Take a look. We're going to show you a rendering of the phenomenon since it wasn't caught on camera. There it is. The report says 5 U.S. Army service members reported seeing the object over Cheyenne Mountain while near Fort Carson. They say it appeared to hover over the mountain for up to 3 minutes before suddenly disappearing. Our sister station in Colorado Springs, KRDO, spoke with the director of the Mutual UFO Network, who says even he has his suspicions.
There are reasons psychologically or perception-wise. I don't think it was a lens flare or a reflection off the snow. But, you know, I've seen so many cases of clouds that people would swear were UAPs.
After reviewing what happened, government analysts believe the sighting may have been caused by sunlight reflecting off of snow-covered ground.